Hey guys, it's XD40 Lou here in the RC Garage. So today on the table I have my Everest 10. Now for those of you guys that follow the channel, you may remember that I had two Everest 10s I had bought about 3 years ago. And the initial plan was to make an 8x8 transport, which I did do, and then I shortly after a few months took it down. It was too big. It was over 5 feet long, and it just wasn't working for me. Just a lot of work to transport. It was close to 40 pounds. It was heavy because it was all metal. So after that, I made it. One of them was a Horrible Body from Killer Body, Lexan, and then the other one was I made into the TRX4 Sport body that I had left over. Both bodies I had left over. So those eventually became an ATV, 1/6 scale ATV. Those of you again that follow the channel know what I'm talking about. And then the other one became a sport tow truck. So I've been wanting to build a 6x6. So what I decided to do, and here was my plan. Okay, you see let me see if I can focus in a little better. You see the TRX6 back there? Right there, the gray one. That's a Traxxas TRX6. The plan was I've always wanted to buy a 3D printed Unimog. I've seen some online on eBay, and then also over the pond over in Asia, they make 3D printed Unimogs. Very, very nice. So the plan was to make this into a 6x6 and then take the G-Wagon body off the TRX6, put it on this one, and then make that TRX6 a Unimog, and then have the G-Wagon on here. And reason being is that G-Wagon is really nice body. Got a lot into it. With the bumpers, the upper and lower bumper for the front, the rack, metal rack, and then the rear bumper, metal rear bumper, the Club 5 Racing truck bed. I mean, it's a really nice body. So after I did that, it just didn't quite fit right with the Everest 10 chassis. And I would have had to buy new tires. There was so much involved that I didn't want to spend the money. This here cost me zero, other than the fact that I already had the Everest 10 chassis that I bought. But as far as additional money, cost me zero. So basically, this is the combination of two Everest 10s. The axles, again, were kind of tricky in the rear because the Everest 10, for those of you that have Everest 10s, you know that the way they do their rear axle is for a four-wheel steer system. And I did not want to do a six-wheel steer system on the 6x6. So that means I had to lock down the rear axles so they don't turn, and that requires a 3-link setup. On top of that, when I went to do the pass-through axle, I didn't have anything to attach those links to, because I had to take the axle. Those of you that are familiar with pass-through axles, when you make them, you know that you got to remove part of one of the axles and then replace it with the pass-through bearing so that you can get it to work. Anyway, long story short, it took me a couple of weeks to build this baby. But what I did instead was I left the G-Wagon alone. And then, if you remember, those of you that follow the channel, this Jeep truggy body was on my custom-made chassis up there. Now, I found an RC four-wheel drive body that I want to buy for that. So I want a nice body on there, on this SCX10 Custom. So what I did is I decided to put the body that was on the SCX10 and make it for this 6x6. So I kind of adapted the whole thing. I have a new rail system in the back that I attached. It's all decked out. Let me set this down. And I can spin it around. I put it on a turntable. So this is my setup. I made a box. And I custom made a bed for the rear. And yeah, I adapted her onto the Everest 10. So she's all done. I put a clear coat paint on the outside. It's got a good stance. Let's see if you could see it. It's got a really good stance on there. I have to tweak the running boards a little bit, but she is a low stance. I had a lot of work to do under there. Believe me, guys, with trying to set up the shocks and all the links that are under there. Actually, you know what? What the heck? I got time. Oh, and another thing I had to do, which I hate to do, but because of the weight of the body and the way it was sitting on here, I decided not to do magnets. I needed to be solid on this chassis because this whole rear is very heavy. And it's an Endura hard body. So those of you guys that are familiar with them, you know that they're heavy bodies. So let me show you. Basically, it's going to be easy though. It's just heavy. It's easy to pop on and off. It's just heavy. But here's my chassis. Now these bumpers are leftover bumpers from my traction founder, which is that red one there. When I ordered that body for the traction founder, it came with a front bumper already. And it's specifically designed for that body, so it's all part of the kit. So that's an F-150 body. So when I ordered that, it came with everything I needed to build that truck body. So anyway, I built this flat bed. These I'm going to paint. They're just there to keep the rear end of the body here from sliding back and forth. But as far as electronics, nothing special. It's got the original. This chassis is pretty original. It's just an Everest 10 stock. Has the hex fly. I did change out the hex fly ESC. I did change out the receiver to a radio link receiver so that I could add later down the road additional lights to it. But yeah, these bumpers turned out really nice. I'm really happy with them. They are metal bumpers, and they're a perfect fit. So I had to build a long chassis rails. So I'm going to flip it over, but I do have to do an adjustment on these because I don't like they sit too low from the body. Also, one of the things that I forgot to mention is I did put the sound kit that I had on my Everest 10 tow truck, I put it on here. So, and another thing too is this is the original chassis, Everest 10 chassis under there. All I did was adapt two chassis rails to the top of the old chassis. And then let me flip it over, show you the underside. So as you can see, that's the drive shaft I need to replace. It does work. I tested it out. But it's so short right here where they meet that I'm afraid with a hard hit or bounce or heavy crawling, it could pop out. So I'm going to order the correct one for there. It's a 60 millimeter. So it has a little more play and a better chance of it not popping out. But you see how I had to lock down these links. But everything will slide off of these links now. You see the setup? I did my links to each other instead of to the body. So you can see. And then I made a bracket for the bottom here for the other links, the upper links. So there's it's a pretty good setup. I think should work real good. The axles, I made them so that they'll slide on there really good. But yeah, it's an Everest 10 6x6. So there she is. I'm looking forward to my first run with it. See how it does. And onward and upward to the next project, which will be, I'll be ordering the body for the SCX10 Custom from RC 4-wheel drive. And I haven't decided on, they got two bodies I like. I like the Chevy K10 and I like the, oh, what is it? It's like a Toyota pickup truck. I forget the name of it. TF2. Anyway, I can't remember. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I haven't decided which pickup I'm gonna do. If I'm gonna do the extended body pickup from RC 4-wheel drive, which looks like a Toyota, and then or the Chevy K10 from RC 4-wheel drive. They're both hard bodies. They're both 314 millimeter wheelbase, so it'll work perfectly on there. That's a 313, so it's off by 1 millimeter. I should be able to fix it pretty good. But yeah, and it's going to have 1.5 tires, small tires. I'm going to try to make it really scale as possible. But yeah, that's what I'm working on, guys. So that's XD40 Lou signing out. Hope you guys are digging the new build. If you are, give me a like out there. And subscribe to the channel if you want. I still have to put my driver in. And I think that's about it. Just my driver and a little bit of touch up here and there, and she's ready to go. Anyway, take care, guys. XD40 Lou signing out.